Hi, and welcome back to a new 5-part series of Cooking with Nick. I'm Nick Rizzo, and during this session, I will show you with a little pre-planning how to produce a 4-course, delicious and healthy meal in under an hour. So sit back, relax, grab a pencil and paper to take notes so you can make this meal at home. My class is ready, and they look hungry, so I have to get started. Okay, we're going to get started. This is our 4th class. Tonight we're going to be doing a soup and sandwich dinner. Okay, and everybody says, well, why do you have sandwiches for dinner and yada, yada, yada. So why do you have hamburgers? You know, hamburger is basically a sandwich, so it's a hot dog. So I'm going to show you how to make a nice, healthy Italian club sandwich that you can make way ahead. We're going to have some escarole and white bean soup. We're going to start with that. I'm going to make a caprese salad. Now, usually a caprese salad is slices of tomato, slices of fresh mozzarella with basil, and then it's drizzled with some olive oil, and it's on a big plate, okay, and sprinkled with some Italian seasoning. I'm going to do a real quick version of that. It's a chopped caprese salad. We're going to use cherry tomatoes. We're going to use bocconcini, the little mozzarella balls, and some fresh basil, and we're going to put it in a bowl and mix it all together. And takes no time at all, because when you try to slice that big mozzarella, you know, it's like that fresh, it takes forever, you know, and I don't have patience for that. So I'm going to show you how to make it real easy. You can make it way ahead, and it's delicious. And then what we're going to do is baked apple pie egg rolls. Now, you've probably never thought to use egg roll wrappers to make dessert. Okay, we're going to take the egg roll wrappers, and we're going to put an apple pie filling in them, and then bake them, take them out, put a little butter spray on them, put some cinnamon sugar on them, and then bake them a little bit more, and they come out just like mini apple pies. Okay, so that's going to be our menu for tonight. Okay, what we're going to start with tonight is, you know we don't do things in order. When you see it on there, we're going to start with the soup, because once the soup is going and ready to eat, that's what you're going to eat first. You'll have soup first, okay? And then I'm going to move down to the dessert, because those are going to have to bake for a little bit in the oven. So we'll get the dessert going, okay? Then I'm going to make the chopped salad, and then I'll do the sandwich, because the sandwich is very, very quick. The longest part of making the sandwich is there's an egg crepe that goes on the layer on the bottom and the top. So this sandwich is filled with a lot of protein. So I'll show you how to make an egg crepe, and that goes on the bottom. Sandy, you had the sandwich at my house when you and Jeff came with Bob and Marie before we went to the show. I made that big sandwich. Yes, that's what this is. So you wanted the recipe and I never gave it to you, so now you're going to get it. so there you go. See? You knew you signed up for this class for a reason. So, and this is a sandwich that you can make in the afternoon. Let it sit in your refrigerator, and it's one of those things, you know, you need something real quick, whip it out, and, you know, the soup, of course, you could make way ahead. And this is another soup that freezes well. So if you make a big batch of it, you can put it in little containers, and it freezes well, okay? The only thing that won't hold up is the salad, the tomato salad, okay? Because the tomatoes get runny, you know. But you could make it like an hour before. It'll be fine. Okay, so I'm going to start with the soup. We're going to get this pot going here on about medium-high, okay? We're going to put some olive oil just to coat the bottom. Okay, not too much. And again, I have in this container salt and pepper. For those of you who haven't seen this before, I always have a combination of half salt, half pepper, basically because when you read the recipe, it says add salt and pepper. So it controls kind of how much you put in, and it saves you time. You don't have to do this and this and this, you know. I'm really lazy when I cook, so I just, you know, I like to find all the shortcuts. Actually, if you put half as much garlic powder in here and put Paula Deen's name on it, that's her house seasoning. And I would gladly make that for you and charge you $12 a jar. So, which is what it is. So you have that going. So it also controls your salt. You know, you're not putting it, you know, when you have the salt shaker, you tend to go like that. This way you sprinkle it in. So then at the end, you can taste it. If it needs more, you can add it to your taste, okay? So you want to get that going. First thing I'm going to do is I have an onion. And now when you make the soup, we don't want the pieces really small. So we're going to just like rough chop them, okay? So when you're cutting an onion, if you cut it and then just go down the side like this, then you can just stick your hand underneath and peel the outside off, okay? And so it just all comes off. So I'm going to rough chop that. Again, make sure when you're chopping that you have your hand like a little claw, otherwise you'll have, you know, a little meat in there. So and just give it a quick chop and into the pot. That's what you want to hear. You want to make sure that the oil is hot enough so when you put stuff in there, it starts to sizzle. Okay, you want the pot to be ready for you. You don't want to have to wait for that to heat up. Give it a stir. And then I have some carrots and celery that I washed. And if you're going to use these right away, just take a damp paper towel, clean them up, wrap them in here, and stick them in your refrigerator, and they'll stay all day. You won't have to worry about it. Plus, then you have something to clean up with when you're done. Okay, so I have the celery, and again, I'm going to go down the middle. And we're going to try to cut everything about the same size. And this is basically going to be your flavor base. When you have carrots, celery, and onion, that's called the mirepoix. And you could buy that in the store. You know, I know at Wegmans and Tops, they have it already chopped up for you. But that's called the mirepoix, and that's the basis for almost any soup that you really make. So the carrots, I'm going to cut them in half and then put the flat side down so the carrots aren't rolling all over the cutting board when I go to cut them. So there we go.
Is that your chef's knife? Or
this is a Farberware knife. You could spend hundreds of dollars on knives, you know. I love this. This is a 6-inch Farberware knife, and you can get it at Bed Bath & Beyond for $10. Okay? And I have a sharpener, and I sharpen it like maybe once every 3 weeks or so, depending on how much I'm using. Okay? But I have some expensive knives. I really don't like them. You know, I don't know why, but this just feels. You have to really work with the knife to make sure that the way you hold it, that it feels good in your hand. You know, some of those knives have handles that are just so bizarre that you're trying to cut and your hand is going this way and that way. So I just like this plain little Farberware one. I like it.
Cutco makes a nice one.
Yeah. You could also get a Farberware one the same size is ceramic, a ceramic knife that everybody says they love. I know I haven't tried it, but they're fairly expensive. Okay, so we're going to get all our carrots in. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper in here, not a lot, because what I want the onions to do, I want them to sweat. I want the vegetables to sweat and take all the moisture out. So what will happen is the salt will draw the moisture out, okay? Just remember that when you're cooking mushrooms, you're frying mushrooms in a pan, you don't want to add salt because they will never brown, okay? Because what will happen is the salt will draw the moisture out and the mushrooms will steam and they will never brown, okay? So if you want the mushrooms to brown, you put them in no salt. At the end, then you could add salt to them, okay? So this is going pretty well. I usually don't cook with a recipe, so I'm trying to follow this so you know, but so if I forget something, Carolyn's over here. She's my watchdog. She'll tell me. I have some garlic that I'm going to add. You don't want to add the garlic until you have something in the pot, because if you put the garlic in there with just the oil, it'll burn very quickly. Okay, and once you burn garlic, there's nothing you can do. You just start over. It's terrible smell. Okay, so I have 4 cloves of garlic, and you want to get the skin off. So what I do when I get the garlic home is I take all the cloves apart, I put it in a bag like this. I don't seal the bag, I just leave it open a little bit, and because then you can just grab the cloves without having to pull them off the thing and have those little white pieces of papers flying all over your kitchen. Okay, so you do that. Just give it a smash.
Did you see Martha's short thing? She puts the whole clove of garlic in a pan. She puts a top on it. She shakes it, and it peels. It takes all the garlic.
I found the other day in Wegmans that you could buy the garlic already peeled. It's in like a little sleeve. It's over by where the chives and that stuff is, and it's already peeled. There's maybe about 10 that are in there, so it's not really a whole lot, because if you buy a whole lot of them, like you go to a Sam's Club, and they have like 6,000 in a jar, I mean, you would never use them all. So, but this had about 10 pieces that were in there. So, if you don't want to peel garlic or whatever. Also, if you have people that can't digest garlic or they get agita from it, so what you can do is smash the clove of garlic, put the whole thing in there, okay? Let it cook, and then when you're ready to serve, just fish them out, okay? So you'll have the garlicky taste, but you won't have the garlic, okay? So some people just, garlic just doesn't agree with them, but they like the taste of it. They like the flavor of it. So nobody's in that position, are you? Well, too bad. So just take some Tums. So I'm just going to cut this, just chop this. Or you can use a garlic press if you want. I have one. I have to find it. But those things are just such a pain to clean. It's just like, might as well just throw everything in there. So, okay, so we got that in. Now you'll see the custodians walking up and down the hall because they all smell the garlic, and then they'll start coming around. So, clean that up a little bit. Okay. You probably can't see it, but the onions are starting to get translucent. I don't know can you smell them over there? Okay, onions are like people. When they start to sweat, they smell. So so that's when they're ready. Okay, so we got that in there. Now I'm going to add the escarole. Now you can go buy a whole big thing of escarole and chop it up yourself, and and get those big leaves, and you have to wrestle with it, and it's all over your counter and on the floor and everything else. I just buy it already. Just go get a bag. It's already chopped for you. Okay? And this bag is going to be enough to, it looks like a lot, but this is going to, it's like spinach. It'll cook way down. Okay? So at this point, what we're going to do, I'm going to throw it in. And it's probably going to fill the pot, as you can see. I'm going to add a little bit of chicken stock into this just to let it start to steam. Okay? And just give it a stir. It's already about half of what it was when I put it in the pot. Okay, I'm going to give it just a little shake of some salt and pepper, and again that'll help it wilt. Plus, escarole is very bitter. It's a bitter green. So some people like to make salads with it. It's too bitter for me. I really don't like it, but I love it in soup.
Do they have those packages of endive, perchance, all chopped up? Or no?
They have endive that's all cleaned up. You can buy the whole thing that's all cleaned and just pick off the leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't think they have it chopped. I've never seen it chopped. Okay, so we got that going. Okay, that's all set. I'm going to add some beans. I'm going to use just northern white beans. You can use whatever kind of beans you want. Cannellini beans, chickpeas, pinto beans, whatever kind you want. I'm just going to drain them a little bit. These are Great Northern beans, white beans. The Great Northern beans are a little bit smaller than the cannellini beans, and they're a little harder. They'll hold up better in the soup a little bit. Cannellini beans are kind of soft. I like cannellini beans if you're going to make a salad. You put them in a salad because you're going to eat them right away and not cook them. Okay. So I'm just going to drain off some of that liquid. I'm actually going to put, not rinse them. I'm just going to drain them a little bit because that'll give, that again has a little more salt in it. So you got to be careful when adding the salt. Plus it thickens up the soup a little bit. If you're making a soup and you want it to be thick and you're going to add beans to it, take a fork, smash the beans against the side of the can before you put it in there. Make like a little paste and then throw it in. And that'll make your soup thick. Okay? Okay, so this is about up to here right now. All that we put in there. Okay? So we got that in. I'm going to add the rest of the chicken broth. It was so funny. Last week we talked about the difference. Somebody asked me the difference between chicken broth and chicken stock. Okay, so we talked about that a little bit. And my sister called me from New York yesterday, and she goes, I have a question. What's the difference between stock and broth? I said, you don't know? She said, no, I don't. So we did that. For those of you who don't know, if you make chicken broth, is if you cook chicken and it's like the drippings on the bottom, it's like the juice that comes out of the chicken, that's the broth. If you make stock, it's when you boil all the bones and the whole chicken and the marrow comes out. And when you put it in your refrigerator, it gets real jelly-like. That's stock. Okay, that has a little more flavor. This is free-range chicken broth, low sodium. Okay, so you can use, I like to use low sodium stock. Okay. So we're going to bring this up to a boil. Yep. Okay, I'm going to add the beans. And then I'm going to add some water because I find that the stock or the broth is usually a little saltier than I like. So I like to add some water to it. And I'm just going to add like 2 cans of water.
How many does this serve?
I know the recipe usually says 6 to 8, but how could you make soup for 6 to 8 people? You can't. So we'll see how many people eat tonight. We have 12 people here. We'll see what's left over. So it serves a lot. But again, you could freeze it. So Okay, so we got that going. At the very end, I'm going to put in some pasta. You can use any kind of small pasta you want. This is ditalini pasta. You could use small shells or broken spaghetti or whatever you want. A heads up on pasta. If you know you're going to be using it during the week, you could pre-cook pasta. Okay, cook it for about, if it says cook it for 10 minutes, cook it for like 7. Okay, because then you're going to finish cooking it in whatever you're going to put it in. Even if you're going to make like spaghetti and meatballs or a ziti or whatever, you could do the same thing. Just put it in the boiling water for like 3 minutes and it'll be done. Okay? Or if you're going to make a casserole that has pasta in it, pre-cook the pasta like on a Sunday afternoon and put it in a baggie with a little olive oil. And then it saves you all that time of having to cook the pasta and mess up your kitchen with all that stuff. So this I'm going to add at the end just before we're ready to serve it, because this will take about another minute to finish cooking, and then we'll get that going. I'm going to get that going. Okay, that's getting up there. Okay, now, what's the only way we can tell if it's any good?
Taste it.
Yeah, you got to taste it. So go ahead, Erica, come on up here. Give us a taste. Erica is the world's greatest Grey's Anatomy fan. So, yeah. So there you go. Just stick your spoon in there and give it a little taste. See if it needs any salt, pepper. Okay?
I think it's good.
Okay.
Excellent.
What we're going to do at the end is, well, I'm going to get a little kick here. You know, we need like a little. This will wake you up a little bit. So I'm going to put in a couple of the hot pepper flakes. You can use cayenne pepper, pinch of cayenne if you want. So just, yeah, that's good. A little bit. At the end, when we serve this, I have over here actually. I'll move it over there where the serving area is. Some grated Parmesan cheese. So you serve yourself, put some grated Parmesan cheese on top, and then take a little slice of lemon and squeeze a little lemon juice on it. The lemon juice makes a big difference in the flavor when you eat it. It makes it real fresh, you know, so like nothing tastes like it's canned. You know, it gives it a nice little pop. So I'll put that over there, and you can just serve yourself and put it on top. If you want to try the soup without the lemon, and then take the lemon and put it on afterward, and you see the difference in it.
When you do your chef to go, do you put the parm and the lemon? When you do your chef to go,
Yeah.
and you offer that, do you put the parm?
I put it in.
Put it in.
Yeah, I put it in the soup.
Because that's one of my favorites. It's
Yeah.
really, you know.
A lot of the times what I'll do with the lemon is I'll put it in on the side. You know, and then you could do it when you have your soup. So I'm going to put this over here. And this I'm going to use, this is shredded Parmesan cheese, not grated. Okay? 'Cause the shredded, when you put it in the soup, will hold up a little more. The grated tends to get to the bottom and it gets stringy, and you know, you pull it up and it sticks to your spoon, and you know, you can't put them in the dishwasher because then you got to clean them by hand. You know, so I'll do that. I'll put the lemon in a little bowl. And I'll put this over here. So we're all ready to go with that. Okay. This is just about coming up to a boil. Remember, we don't want the vegetables in there to get mushy. Okay, so that sautéing them was enough to take away the crunch, okay, just to give it a little bit of bite. So that's what we're going to do. There may be a little more pasta in here that we want to add to the soup. If you're gonna freeze this, don't add the pasta to it, okay? Don't put the pasta in the soup and then stick the soup in your freezer, okay? Just freeze the soup as it is, and then you could freeze it, and then just make a little bit of pasta before you're ready to serve it. You could use orzo, broken spaghetti. If you have leftover macaroni, throw it in, or whatever. But then just throw it in at the end, okay? So I'm just going to add probably about, this is 2 cups of cooked pasta in this bag. So, and I'll just save this for soup next week. So, because that'll be plenty. Remember when that sits in there, remember it absorbs it. So, you know, it's like tortellini. When you make tortellini soup, if you put the tortellini in too soon, you end up with wontons about this big, you know. So you got to be careful with that. Okay? So that's all ready to go. What I'm going to do is clean this up a little bit, and I'm going to start working on the dessert. Now, I'm going to make about 5 or 6 of them while you watch me, and remember that I always have a backup. I made some this afternoon that's in the oven, so you're not going to have to share 6 of them, okay? So, okay, we got that going. I'm going to use Granny Smith apples for this. I'm just going to get this started, and then you're going to have soup And then when you come back, then we'll finish it, okay? And these are the wonton wrappers we're going to use. Now what you want to do is get the egg roll wrappers. I said wonton wrappers, I'm sorry, these are egg roll wrappers. Okay, the wonton wrappers are the small ones, you know. And basically what these are sheets of pasta. That's all they are. So you could actually use these to make ravioli. I use the small wonton wrappers. You could use those to make ravioli. Okay, then you just cook them. Okay. Now these baked apple pies, if you want to, you could put them together and deep fry them. If you like that real crispy, like a egg roll, Chinese egg roll, you could use that. Okay, but these are the egg roll wrappers, and this is the size they are. They're this size. I was telling Carolyn before we started the class that Carolyn's one of those Post-Journal cook winners. You know, like she always makes me nervous when she's here. She's like, you know. But I always tease her about that. But you know, she asked me for suggestions. So you're like, oh, okay. So, but this is what they look like. They're like sheets of pasta. You could actually make lasagna with these. Okay, I've taken these. You can make individual lasagnas. Take a ramekin. Okay, you could put in one of these. You put in like the layer of cheese, a layer of meat, whatever you want to do. Another layer of the pasta sheet, and just keep layering it. And you make individual little lasagnas that you could serve. And you could make those way ahead. Make them on a Sunday. Leave them in your refrigerator covered with saran wrap, and you could bake them on Wednesday. You know, so there's something you could have all ready to go. So you could use, there's a lot of things you could use these for. Okay, first thing we have to do is get some apples cut up. Because we're basically going to make an apple pie filling. That's what we're going to make. Okay, so I'm going to have a contest with Michelle. Come here. This is what I used to do with my kids. Yeah, come on up here. You know, you always have to peel the apples. We always used to see who could just give your hands a quick wash and we'd be ready to go. So we used to go around the apple like this and see who could get the longest peel. Okay? So that was the contest we had. So Michelle and I are going to have a contest to see who could have the longest peel. Okay? I always used to lose on purpose so my kids would be happy.
Did you sharpen my knife?
Yep. Okay. Ready?
Oh, you won already.
I think she gave you a bigger, fatter knife.
Something, yeah. Oh, look at that.
I've been practicing. Taking half the apple with it.
You get to wear this.
I'm going to let you finish this one.
Okay. Yeah. But that was always fun. We used to try to do that with our kids. So there, Nicole, you always used to lose. I've seen people peel apples with a vegetable peeler. I could never do that. I could never get it to catch. I mean, I could never get the skin to catch. I don't know. I must be doing something wrong, but okay. So basically, we got those done. We're gonna
backyard and let the deer have it. Don't you want to put the peels in the backyard and let the deer have it?
No. Trying to chase all those deer over to Darlene's house. They ate all yours, didn't they eat all your vegetables? Well, that celery I used was from the garden. That was one of the only things they didn't eat, celery and eggplant. Okay, soup is ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish chopping up this apple, okay, and I'll wait till you finish your soup, and then we'll finish getting this going. Okay, so you guys are going to have to eat. You're going to have to get up and serve yourself. Okay, we're going to finish making the dessert. And what I did while you guys were having soup, I just finished chopping up the apples, and I put a little bit of lemon juice in there, but I'm going to add a little bit more. And the lemon juice keeps the apples from turning brown. So if you wanted to chop up the apples like in the afternoon or whatever, you could put them in a bowl or put them in a baggie and add a little lemon juice, and they'll stay there without turning brown. Okay. So I'm going to add a little bit more lemon juice, basically because I like the taste of lemon. I'm going to put that in. And we're going to add some sugar. We're basically making a pie filling, okay? So it's just some regular sugar. And some ground cinnamon. And you put in, I like a lot of cinnamon, so. And I'm going to add a little bit of allspice. If you wanted to, and you have in your cupboard the apple pie spice, apple pie seasoning, you know, when you make, what's it called, apple pie flavoring? What's it called, this stuff? Apple pie spice, thank you. Okay, you have that sits in your cupboard for 2 years, and you never know what to do with it. You could just put that in here, and it has all the spices in it. It has allspice, it has cinnamon, it has cardamom, it has all that in there. Okay, so we're going to put that in there. That's like I'm always trying to figure out what to do with pumpkin pie spice.
Yes.
You know, you use it once a year, so you try to figure out what to do with it. So I'm going to add a little bit of flour in here. You could use flour or cornstarch, and that's basically going to act as a thickener. So
Tapioca, would that work?
I don't like to.
Oh.
I don't like those little eyeballs. Those, you know, yeah, I just don't like the texture of tapioca. So you could. It would be a thickener, you know, if you like tapioca, but don't invite me for that dessert. I don't know.
You won't eat it.
It's like caviar. You know, look at caviar. It looks like a mini deer left something in your yard. That's what it looks like. I'm sorry.
It looks like you need that again.
Okay, so basically what we have here is the filling. Okay, so we have that. That over there. So I have in this bowl, I took an egg. We're going to make an egg wash, which is going to be a sealer for us. So it's basically an egg, a little bit of water, and I just whipped it up, okay? Because that's what we're going to use to seal the egg rolls. So we're going to take the wrappers, put them on your counter. You take a brush. You can go spend $20 for a pastry brush. This is like a value for 99 cents. You get 6 of them. You know, so when they wear out, you just throw them out. But so you just want to do the edges with the egg wash. Okay, then we're going to take some of the filling and put it about 1/3 of the way down, because we're going to fold it. It's going to be like a burrito. We're going to fold it over like a burrito.
Did you say that's a big, healthy, like a tablespoon, or is it probably more?
Probably, you know, it depends on how much filling you want to put in it. You know, it's probably about 2 tablespoons. Okay, so then you fold it over, fold the side over, then just roll it, and you end up with that. Okay, so you want to put it on. There's a piece of parchment paper on here, or you can use spray, and put it the seam side down. Okay, we'll do the second one. And again, you could make these way ahead, put them on the tray, leave them in your refrigerator, you know, and then when you're ready to bake them, or you could take them like that and put them in a deep fryer, if you like it deep fried. Okay. So again, we're just going to do that. This is another one of those things that it's fun with kids. Kids like to do this, you know. You could add a raisins in this, or currants, or any kind of dried fruit, dried apricots. You can chop them up and put them in there if you like that. My wife likes raisins, but she doesn't like raisins in anything that's cooked. So I always have to be careful about what I make. But I like this with raisins in it. So, but I didn't know if anybody else did, so we're making them without it. Okay. So again, you just fold it over. You could use the same. Is that me? Oh, it's the stove. Okay. It was my pacemaker. No, just okay. I don't have a pacemaker. I just don't use. Don't worry, you won't have to call 911 if you can change the battery. Okay, so we get this going. You could use a different kind of filling for this. If you wanted to use, you could take pumpkin pie filling that comes in the can, and you could use that in here. You can make little pumpkin pies. Okay, or you can take a blueberry filling, add some walnuts to it, and put it in here and do the same thing. You can use any kind of filling you want in this. Okay, just experiment with it. So I mean, you know what your tastes are. Just try it. I like anything with pumpkins, so I like those. They actually come out like a healthier version of the pumpkin pies that McDonald's sells, with a little more filling, Okay, so actually, we're gonna make 6 of these right now, because I have a whole tray of them in the oven back there that I made this afternoon that are heating up. Okay. And then you could serve these with a little bit of vanilla ice cream, whatever. I have some whipped cream that you can squirt on it, and you're ready to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in the oven for about 15-20 minutes and just keep an eye on it. Okay, so by the time these are going to be done, you'll have your sandwich and your salad. Okay, I'm going to put those in. I always have to put the oven, I have to watch over here. I have the one back here I always forget about. So that's on 200, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so we got that going. Oops. Get this out of the way. Clean up a little bit. And we're going to start. I'm going to make the salad next. And then we're going to work on the sandwich. The hardest part, not the hardest part, but the part that takes the most time with the sandwich is making the egg crepe. Okay, that goes on the bottom and the top of the sandwich. The rest of it is just putting stuff together on bread. Okay, so wash. I'm using grape tomatoes in the salad and bocconcini, which are the small. I'll put that up there. Let's see. What I did this afternoon is I halved some of the tomatoes, so you didn't have to watch me halve all these tomatoes. Okay, so these are the kind I bought. These are the sweet grape tomatoes. They were actually fairly large. I mean, so you have to look at how many people you're going to serve and how much mileage you're going to get out of it. You get those teeny little ones, you're going to be cutting those little babies up for a long time. Okay, so we have that. So what I'm going to do is cut these up. Just cut them in half. And the big ones are easier to cut than those little ones. I saw on TV one time where somebody took 2 lids. I'll show you in a second. I tried it one time, but it didn't really work for me. They took 2 lids like this, and they put the tomatoes on here. Okay, put this one on top, and then took the knife and went like this and cut them all at the same time. So I'm going to try it. what you need, huh? So you cut them in half. So you could do that if you want. So try it again. Yeah, that one wasn't so successful. Well, it came out okay. But a little trick you could try. Okay. And then the mozzarella balls. Basically, there's only 3 ingredients in this. It's fresh mozzarella balls, fresh basil, tomatoes. And then we're just going to make an oil and vinegar dressing with red wine vinegar. Okay. So these are the fresh mozzarella balls. They come in a kind of a little bit of a brine. Okay, but when you buy them at the salad bar thing, make sure when you pick up that scoop that you get the water out. Otherwise, because you pay for this by the pound. Okay, so make sure you get the water out when you put them in there, and then when you get home, just cover them with water. Okay, otherwise you're paying for tons of water. Okay, so we're just going to cut these in half. And these are much easier to cut in half than trying to slice fresh mozzarella.
Did you hear me say you can buy it already sliced at Sam's?
The mozzarella?
The mozzarella.
You can, but it's about twice the price of what you would pay for a ball of mozzarella.
That's a-
Yeah, they charge you for it. Yeah, anything that you buy like that's going to be prepared, they're going to charge you twice the price. You know. It doesn't really take a long time. Actually, what you can do is you slice these ahead and put them back in the container. You know. This is a nice light salad you could make. It doesn't have any mayonnaise on it. It's good to serve like if you go into a picnic or whatever, because you don't have to worry about mayonnaise and spoiling and I like to use red wine vinegar, but you could use like champagne vinegar or balsamic or whatever kind of vinegar you like. So, and this is about this came to be maybe about a pound. So these little mozzarella balls are also good. You can put them on little skewers with cherry tomatoes and the basil, and you could serve it that way also. You take the tomato, a mozzarella ball, a basil leaf, and just put like 3 of those on a skewer, and then drizzle this dressing over it, and people can just pick it up. So you could serve that as a nice little hors d'oeuvre if you don't want to make the salad. Okay, so we have that done. This is basil probably the last of the basil that's in my yard. So, and just gonna take it, chop it up. And you want to use fresh basil in this. You don't want to use dried. Okay. That's it. Just going to throw it in. The pesto we're going to put on the sandwich is the rest of the basil that was from my yard. I made some pesto this afternoon. Pesto is like one of those things that people always look at and go, oh, all it is you take basil leaves, put it in your food processor, you add olive oil. You can pine nuts, or I use walnuts. I use walnuts and Parmesan cheese, a little salt and pepper, and you're all set. That's basically what it is. And then what I do is because during the summer you get so much basil that you could freeze it. So what you can do is to take an ice cube tray, okay, fill the ice cube tray with it, and it doesn't really get frozen. But when it does, when it gets a little bit hard, pop them out, put them in a baggie. Then when you want to serve that, what you can do is take one of the cubes out. 1 cube will be 1 serving with pasta. Okay, so that's the way to gauge it. So if you have like 6 people coming for dinner, put 6 of those cubes on the bottom of the bowl, put the hot pasta on top of it, let it sit for about a second or two, and then stir it all up, and you have your macaroni with pesto. Okay, so just an easy way to get that done. But and you can also, it's an easy way to store it. Just leave it in your freezer. Okay, always makes a nice side dish, pesto. You could always mix it with cream cheese and make a little dip or whatever. Okay, so basically our salad is done. I'm going to make a little bit of a dressing, and I'm going to use This was the container that the tomatoes was in, so it's not dirty, you know. So put olive oil, and I usually use like 1/3 olive oil to 2/3 vinegar or lemon juice, you know, whatever kind of dressing you want to make. So this is just red wine vinegar. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Not too much. And of course I have to put a little kick in there. So this is one of those things where, you know, they always tell you you can whisk it, you know, you put it in a bowl, whisk the dressing. I just put it in a jar and shake it up. You know, it's easier. If you wanted this to be emulsified, if you wanted it not to be so loose, put a teaspoon of Dijon mustard in there, and the mustard holds it together. That's what makes it, you know, not separate. Okay, so we got that done. Get our dressing. Okay, salad's done. I'm going to let that sit off to the side a little bit while we do our sandwich. Okay, let me check on these. Those are looking good. I'm going to stir it I'm going to toss it just before we're ready to serve it. Okay. Okay, we're going to go back to page 1. We're going to go back to our Italian club sandwich. Okay, I have 4 eggs in here. The bottom of our sandwich, this is a layered sandwich, and the bottom of it and the top have what's called egg crepe. So I'm going to show you how to make that. It's just real quick. I'm going to put the pan on medium-high. And this 4 eggs should make about 4 crepes. Okay. Now usually I use a round bread. When I do this, I try to get a round loaf of bread and cut it into wedges. You know, but we have so many people that I got a focaccia bread. Ciabatta bread, and that's what we're going to use. I'm just going to whip that up. I'm going to put a little dash of salt and pepper in here. Now remember, you don't want to use a whole lot of salt because we're going to have pesto is going to be in there also. Going to add a little bit of milk or cream, whatever you have. And just like scrambled eggs. Okay. Okay. That gets hot. I'm going to use. Oh, I have it over here. It says you can use butter. You can brush the pan with butter. I'm going to use some cooking spray. And you want to give it a good spray because we're going to have to make sure that they come out. Okay. Turn that up a little bit. Okay, well, we're waiting for that to heat up. I'll get our other ingredients. This is ciabatta bread. It's got big holes in it, and I have 1.5 back there, so don't worry. This is not going to be cut into 11 pieces. So, and I figured this size will get like 6 sandwiches out of it. Okay. So what I did here is I took a little bit of the filling out of the bread, because this bread tends to be rise high, you know, and this is all bread. It's light and airy bread, but I take some of that out because it's just too much bread. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put about 1/4 of this in here. Just going to let that cook. We want it to cook enough so that it gets dry on top, because we're going to have to flip it. Okay? It's making crepes is what it is.
Can't you buy crepes already made? Can't you buy crepes already made?
You can buy them already made, but this is just all egg. Okay? You don't want that flour. Okay? Meantime, I'll give our salad a little bit of a toss here. Okay, that smells good. So I have, this is pesto. And this is, again, it's pesto from my garden. And what you want to do is slather the pesto on the top and the bottom. And I like this ciabatta bread because it's got all these holes in it. So like all the pesto gets inside the holes, so you know every little bite has a little bit of the pesto in it. And again, you could make this sandwich way ahead. You could make this for a picnic because again, it doesn't have any mayonnaise. It doesn't have, it just has the oil in it. And it also serves a lot of people. And it's filling. Okay, so we have that. Let's see what this is doing.
What did you say the pesto was? Basil, olive oil, pine nuts, and...
Parmesan cheese. It's a little salt and pepper. Okay. Now, if I was daring, I could flip it. But I could try it. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so the other side is not going to take, whoops. So this side is not going to take very long to cook because it's it was almost dry on top. So, we got that. Let me take that out. Put the next one in. Just want to keep swishing it around so that okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I'm going to cut this in half. Put it on the bottom. Okay, and then we're going to put roasted red peppers on here, turkey, provolone cheese, and that's going to be the basis for our sandwich, and some prosciutto. It says bacon in there. You could use bacon, but I like prosciutto ham. Okay, and what I did with the prosciutto is I stuck it in the oven and I baked it. Okay, so I like it. It's got a much different taste than bacon, but if you're into bacon, you can use that. Okay. Okay. You got to really watch these because once they start going, they go really quickly. Okay. So that one's just about done.
Spell prosciutto. Spell prosciutto for me. How do you spell it? Oh, is it up in here somewhere?
Okay.
I'll get the PRO. What's the rest?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to give it a little spray again. Probably only going to take one more, so to get that in there. Okay. Going to take half of this crepe. This is probably only going to take 3 on this size bread, okay? So what we're doing is layering that there. And then this other one is going to go on the top. Okay, let that cook. Okay, so what I did with the prosciutto ham is I stuck it in the oven at 350 Whoops, reminds me. Okay, whose are those that are burnt? No, I'm just kidding. They're not. I'm going to take these out. You can see the apple, the filling starting to come out a little bit, and they start to get brown a little bit. Okay, what I have over here, before we continue, and I get my crepe going here, get this flipped over. Okay, turn that off. I'm going to use butter spray on this. You can get melt butter and brush it on if you want, but this is butter spray. Going to butter the top. And what I'm basically doing this is for is because I'm going to put cinnamon sugar on it, and it'll help the cinnamon sugar to stick. Okay, so cinnamon sugar is regular table sugar, and half and half sugar and cinnamon. Okay, I'm going to put those back in the oven for about 4 or 5 minutes. And then those will be done. Okay, this crepe is done. Okay, put that on the top part. Got lots of protein in this. Okay, then we're going to start layering. I have really thin slices of turkey and provolone cheese. Okay, put the turkey on, and this is probably about a half a pound of thin sliced turkey. Okay, just start laying it on there, and don't be chintzy with the filling. I don't like sandwiches that have like 3 slices of cheese on it. You know, just put it on there like you actually like the people you're feeding. You know, make them feel important. Okay, here you go. Got the provolone. This is just regular provolone cheese that's very tightly wrapped. I can't get off.
How long did you cook that for the soup?
You put in the, I was, when I was baking the apple pie things, I put it in there, so it was at 375. I put them in at the same time, and it takes about 10 minutes. You'll see it shrivels up. You see it gets hard. You see, it'll shrivel up like that, because those pieces are fairly large. Okay, so let me get this going. We're almost done. Okay, cheese.
More than Subway.
Yeah, put it on. Well, we'll put it on there, whatever I made. Okay, then I have roasted red peppers. I'm going to take this little container. These are huge babies. Okay. Yeah, they're large. I got these at the deli at Wegmans, so they're big pieces of pepper. So just going to put those on.
Wow, I guess so.
I know, but it's so good. It's like the whole pepper, you know. So just rip it in half, because you know you could make these yourself if you just put them over on your gas stove and char them, or your barbecue and whatever. So I'm going to put the prosciutto ham on. And again, if you want to use bacon, you could just use bacon. I was making this one time, and somebody said, "Well, can you use turkey bacon?" I said, "Why? You have all that other stuff in there. Why do you want turkey bacon?" I said, "You know." So we have our sandwich ready to go. I'm going to cut this into 6 pieces. I have the rest of them back here. Our dessert is out of the oven. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slice this up. Going to move it over to that area over there. Take the soup away. Put the salad over there. So you're going to have the sandwich and your salad. And then when you finish that, come back and have dessert. Okay? So just take a big serrated knife. And again, you'll get about 6 pieces out of this.
That bread makes good eggplant sandwiches too. It makes good eggplant sandwiches too, that bread.
Well, that was our class for this session, and I hope you enjoyed watching and learned something along the way. If you could not attend the class and are interested in the recipes, you can email me at nrizzo@roadrunner.com. I would like to thank Chautauqua Lake Central School, Mrs. Amy Redmond, all my class participants, and my wife Kathy for her support in my many crazy endeavors. Thank you.